Morning, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We are in a global recession. Now, the impact might differ around the world, but at least for the first world countries like Europe and the US, it's very clear that we are in a recession and there's no way around it. Even if the media doesn't want to confirm it and we still have to wait until we have 2 quarters of slower GDP growth, that doesn't mean that it's not here. And because this video is intended for an audience that wants to outperform everyone and end up on the winning side, today's video is how to win in a recession. So what happens now? Customers will spend less, which means there's less money to reinvest for growth. Also, valuations will drop because investors won't be willing to pay a premium for a company with a high risk because the economy is in shambles right now. The bigger problem here is that since the valuations have dropped too much, companies no longer want to IPO because it doesn't make sense for the shareholders to sell their assets at a loss, which also means that there's less liquidity in the market. With slower growth due to not being able to reinvest profits and also less liquidity in the market, investors are less likely to invest, which turns everything into a chaos. And if companies cannot get the money from investors, they will look towards trying to become profitable. And that usually means that hiring will be frozen, salaries will stagnate, and there will be layoffs, all so companies can go towards a profitable route. So how does that affect an employee? First of all, budget, and more budget. Always good to have a budget, but it's even important in a time of crisis. And if you already have a budget and you're looking to make it more sturdy, which is important at this moment, the best way to go about it is to cancel your subscriptions. I've done this recently and I've managed to increase my runway by nearly half. This also leads on to the next point, which is to have a big runway. A recession lasts on average for 10 months, which means that if you have 1 year of runway, you will have a baseline to fall on in case anything bad happens, and also you will be able to build your confidence to be greedy. Why do you need to be greedy? Because if you want to win, even in a recession, you will need to look for opportunities, but those might also mean that you have to take on some additional risk. Once you have your big runway, you need to put it in an easy to liquidate vehicle, but not keep it in cash. You need to keep it in a high interest savings account or a deposit, because if you keep it as cash, it will lose to inflation. It will still lose to inflation if you keep it in a high interest savings account, but the damage will be much lower. Now, since we are already in a recession, it's a bit late to build your runway, but it's still a good option if you have the means to look towards having the security which comes with having a baseline. A recession should also be treated as a learning season. You might not be able to get the best jobs on the market, and also you might not be able to double your salary every 2 years like it happened up until now. So you should treat it as a way to build your knowledge and to become even better for when the opportunities will be unlocked again. If you have any opportunities that you wanted to get to and you have the opportunity right now, you should take that big leap even if it means that you take a pay cut. That is, of course, if you have the runway to sustain such a move. Don't be reckless, just take asymmetric risks, which is also one of the points that we're going to discuss later on. It's no longer the case that you can just quit your job and focus on a side hustle. It's better to build on the side, to have the security and the way to sustain anything that you're building. A recession is a market of asymmetric risks and smart moves. So if you are going to take a risk, make sure that the reward is that much bigger and it's not leading you to becoming bankrupt. We've talked about how to handle a recession as an employee. Now let's get on to how to keep a business alive. As a founder, you need to be resilient and be able to handle anything that's thrown at you. In this market, everything is possible and you don't know where your next problem will come from. So you need to be able to adapt and overcome it. That might also mean making more sacrifices, like letting people go, taking a pay cut yourself, or even having to funnel money into your business to keep it alive from other sources. So if you want some actionable steps, reduce your burn rate, cancel software subscriptions that you no longer need and are not essential, and look to replace suppliers with cheaper options if that's something that you can do. It might take some time, but it will also help you in the long run, even after the recession will end. If you're in a dire need of cash and you cannot raise money, another way how you can get some fast liquidity is to lock in long-term contracts. So you can offer discounts for yearly subscriptions and upfront payments, or even sign some retainers, which will help get some cash flow for your business, which will keep it alive until you can get past this period or even reach a point where you can raise money. A good strategy that a lot of businesses will be adopting in a bad economic time, and we can already see that in action, is to go towards profitability. It will make it easier to raise money, there will be less pressure on you or even none at all, and also you will be better prepared for when the recession ends to go all in. If you don't have a business but you're still looking to start one even in this bad period, first of all, congratulations. Second of all of the previous aspects apply even in this case. But furthermore, you need to choose a better product segment. No more luxury premium products. Those are a no-go in a recession time. There will also be a lack of spending on recreational activities like going to the club or to a spa or anything around those areas. And also, if you're going to build a product, you need to build one that saves your customers money. That's one of the best business models that you can start in a recession. And if you currently don't have any great product ideas, you can always bet on services. Services will always be essential even in a bad economic period. And also, if you're a high achiever, you will be interested in what you should do about your investments, because as you know, you should always be investing. So, should you invest now? Yes, if you have the money. Don't go and over leverage yourself and risk going into bankruptcy. Just make sure that you invest sustainably and take asymmetric risks. Why should you invest at the moment? Because there are discounts everywhere. If you look at most of the global stock markets at the moment, they are down, which means that you have the chance to buy in at a lower price. Historically, stocks rise at the end of a recession. So if you buy now, you will end up catching those great returns when all of this bad economic period will end. Like Warren Buffett has said, fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. If you cannot stomach seeing your investments going down in value each day, you might also be interested in going into private markets. Why? Because those are less prone to fluctuations, because the prices are not updated in real time. You can only see the updated price of your investment if you can find a buyer that's willing to pay that price. And as a last point, as we're going down deeper into the recession, we might be seeing some interest rates going down if they want to jumpstart the economy back again, which will mean it will be a great opportunity for you to use leverage if you want a more risky approach. As we have discussed so far, make sure that it's an asymmetric risk where you're not risking everything on a stupid strategy. And that's everything about a high-level strategy of how you can make sure that you end up on the winning side at the end of this recession.